What's going on, folks? Anthony Armstrong here. Welcome into Believe in Commanders, brought to you by FanDuel. And the Washington Commanders' ideal candidate, at least my ideal candidate for offensive coordinator, is out there available, with Mike McDaniel being fired unexpectedly by the Miami Dolphins. This comes after the news of the Baltimore Ravens letting go of John Harbaugh. So I was on another show working on talking with some folks. We were talking about the coaching changes. And I said, hey, if John Harbaugh came out there, I think a lot of other teams would get interested in making a move for a head coach with his pedigree, with his resume. And obviously it seems like, that's what the Dolphins are doing. They're trying to trend towards getting John Harbaugh. But I'll tell you this, for Washington fans, you're in a good position. I feel like this has to be the ideal position for Mike McDaniel to get to. There's a lot of favorites that are out there. There have been the Browns, the Ravens, and then obviously the Commanders as some of the teams that are popping up as potential landing spots for Mike McDaniel. And I tell you this much. Number one, the dude definitely deserves to be in the running for a head coaching position. He's done it. He's shown success. He's shown success in developing a young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. He's created absolutely electric and some of the most historic offensive performances that you can get in the NFL. He's put those things together. He's had success out there in San Francisco. But there's a lot of things that I feel, work in his favor, and I think that you should, really consider bringing him to Washington. Obviously, this is Believe in Commanders. All right. So just going through all the connections. Well, I'll say why he's not going some other places. Number one, I don't think he's going to Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't make sense to me. The way that he exited Cleveland, him and Kyle Shanahan, the way that they exited Cleveland, had to literally come up with a pleading letter of reasons as to why they wanted to get the hell up out of there. I don't see him going back up to that spot. I don't see him going back to an organization that has, a meddling owner and, isn't that, functional. It's a dysfunctional place. I don't think that he wants to go into that. From the reports of him being extremely emotional after getting released, and it's this, getting fired is caught him off guard. He thought he was going to be retained. Now you get released. I feel for my boy. I feel for him. I know how he felt when I got released in Cleveland. Right? He was choked up when I got fired unexpectedly, and I wasn't there, but for the summer. And I know Mike from the 2011 and part of the 2012 season in Washington. I was with him again in Cleveland in 2014 in that off season. So I know him personally. I know the guy. I know the man. I know he's a good individual. So I'm feeling for him in the fact that he got fired. But I do think Washington will end up being the best place. I don't see him going back to Cleveland. I feel like that picks old scabs, and there's nothing over there that you're going to try to prove. But hey, when you go and look at Washington, there's a lot of good things over there. A lot of good things over there. Obviously, up the road, you got a lot to compare as well. But we'll go to Washington. I think Washington has the most natural connections. Everything that you see is the connection with Dan Quinn, his relationship with DQ whenever they were down in Atlanta during that time when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator, the outrunning with alcohol, and the addiction in his path to sobriety. Dan Quinn was right there on the forefront supporting him. So I see that being a natural connection as to why he would want to show up in this space. Familiarity with the head coach. If you go back to the press conference that they had just on Monday, they talked about having a lot of collaboration and a lot of continuity with their coaching staff. He wanted those type of things. And he's familiar with Mike McDaniel, so he knows that he's going to have that type of relationship. When you go further, you start to look at Adam Peters. He was with Adam Peters in San Francisco. Adam Peters was in the front office working his way up the ranks while Mike McDaniel was doing his thing on the field. So the people that Adam Peters selected had success in Mike McDaniel's offense. I repeat, the people that Adam Peters selected had success in a Mike McDaniel's ran offense, in a Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, whatever you want to frame it, they had success. So it makes sense that the guy that's up there picking all the produce, who's picking all the players, would want to get somebody who has had success with his selections. I don't want to say in his system, but with his selections. I heard AP in the press conference. He was saying a lot of words along the lines of, well, we want to get younger and faster and more explosive players. If you name the players that are down there in Miami, They are definitely fast and explosive. When you talk about Devin Achane, you talk about Jalen Waddle, you talk about Tyreek Hill, you talk about bringing Darren Waller out of retirement to go play tight end and go have some pretty good games. All right. I think one person to pay attention to player-wise, I'll get to the players in a little bit. We're just talking about the connections. On the roster, Deebo Samuel's already there. Deebo's best season in his career came with Mike McDaniel out there calling plays and designing things. Really revolutionized the game, making a receiver really be a part of the running game and help Deebo Samuel just ascend to who he is as a player. So now it's great to have somebody that you can already walk in and say, I already know how to use that piece. Terry McLaurin is one of the best downfield receivers, one of the best 50-50 ball receivers. Feels pretty good to know you have that person out there as well. So he's going to walk into pretty good, it can be improved, sure. But when you walk in, you got to feel comfortable with the fact that, okay, I got Terry McLaurin, I got Deebo Samuel that I'm very familiar with. He could find something to do with a Jalen Lane. He could find something to do with a Luke McCaffrey. But we'll get deeper into the players. What else on the connection-wise? Familiarity with the organization. Mike was with Washington from 2001 to 2013. Or not 2001, 2011, to 2013. So he was there. He had been there before. Yes, it was a different ownership group. So this thing has changed. So he'll be able to step in there and know around the building, know his way around the building. And I can tell you what, when you come from getting fired and having a traumatic situation like that, it's good to go around and be around some people that you know, be around some people that you trust. Now, the job up the road in Baltimore, we got to be real. It's an appealing spot too. You've got Lamar Jackson, where you could arguably say that if you go hindsight, he probably would have made that trade to get Lamar Jackson down in Miami. Maybe we wouldn't be in this situation right now, but you get to go and work with, you have the potential to go and work with Lamar Jackson. You got the opportunity to go and put Derrick Henry inside of that offense as well. Zay Flowers outside, Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews. They got good tight ends. Then the defense got to get back on track up there as well. So you're going to walk into a winner. You're going to walk into a division in the AFC North that's not really sewn up. No, but Washington seems to make most sense to me, obviously, with this being the show and being obviously I'm going to say Washington makes the most sense, but it's just intriguing because I had been saying just over the past few weeks, I was like, man, if this came about, say the few weeks, past few shows, if this were to come about, I know a few things would have to fall into place. Well, they're falling into place. And that's the part of it that's like, oh, okay, well, you don't really apologize for that. I will say this, though. We are brought to you by FanDuel. We appreciate those good folks over there. NFL playoffs coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's wild that the coaching carousel has quickly jumped and kind of almost supplanted the playoffs as the most interesting storyline, especially over these last couple of days. But it's a great lead up, man. God, they're going to have so many things to talk about. But just a couple of games to pay attention to: the Rams and the Panthers. 10.5-point favorites are the Rams on the road against the Panthers. They lost to the Panthers a few weeks ago. Panthers have some good cornerbacks led by J.C. Horn. Their defense is starting to pick things up a little bit. Likely rookie of the year, Torian McMillan. He's over there with the Carolina Panthers. So 10.5-point favorites are the Rams. What else you got here? Green Bay at Chicago. So they split their home. They split their games this season. Both home teams won. But the most recent winner in this series was Chicago at home in overtime. Green Bay's 1.5-point favorites on the road. Big matchup. This one's really intriguing. 1.5-point favorite Buffalo Bills are traveling down to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jags, their defense is flying. They got Josh Allen of their own, Josh Hines Allen, who will be getting after Josh Allen to see how he can slow them down. The Bills have shown some weakness against some teams that have good pass rushers. I go back to that loss against the Houston Texans. That game right there something that the Jacksonville Jaguars are probably trying to, use as a bit of a blueprint of sorts. But coming into the season, I had the Bills as a favorite to win the Super Bowl. I still think that they're going to, they're in the tournament. They still got Josh Allen. There's no Patrick Mahomes in front of you. There's no Lamar Jackson in front of you. There's no who else? There's a lot of the best quarterbacks no Joe Burrow. None of those quarterbacks are out there. So it's set up for Josh Allen to go and get things done. Can he do that over Trevor Lawrence on the road? We will see. That's Saturday. No, check that. That's Sunday at 1 p.m. Here's the matchup that's going to be really good. Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Philly is 4.5 point favorites at home. San Fran, obviously, they're depleted. They are injured. They're going to see if they can travel well and put up a performance against this offense. If San Fran can get out to a good jump, I think that's going to be their best bet. Being 4.5 point dogs, that's a little bit, obviously a little bit more than the field goal, but they're going to be good enough to stay close. We'll see how it closes out in the end, because Philly does like to run that ball. And if they can control the clock, that'll make it a long day for the 49ers. The Chargers and the Patriots. This one is an exciting matchup. The young talented quarterbacks in the NFL. Drake May, he's up for MVP, up against Matt Stafford. That's also over there on FanDuel. 3.5 point favorites are the Patriots at home. Mike Vrabel has those guys playing well. I don't see these Chargers traveling. The electricity does not go that far. They don't have that cross-country connection, in my opinion. It's just tough to travel that far and in the cold, going up against a tough defense. They got some good players, though. Quentin Johnson's out there doing pretty well. Justin Herbert at the quarterback position. With Drake May in that offense, they're rolling right now, and they're going to be at home. Give me that one. Give me the Patriots in that one. Here's a fun matchup: the Texans and the Steelers. I got the Texans in. They're on the road, favored by 3 points. Their defense is flying around. Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter on the defensive side. They're both up there for Defensive Player of the Year as pass rushers. As crazy as that sounds, they're up there. They're 3 point favorites against Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are getting DK Metcalf back from his suspension of his altercation with the fan. So that's one good thing. But you got Derek Stingley. You've got another young, good, talented cornerback over there, Ed, with the Texans. So they have options back there. They can cover people. I don't think they're going to necessarily have to follow. But I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see Stingley following DK Metcalf for a while there, and see how Aaron Rodgers can try to dissect that defense. But it's on the road. It's outside. It's going to be cold. Yes, the Texans are favorites, but it's tough to win in Pittsburgh. You got a young team going up against a veteran team on the road. There's a lot of aura. You got the terrible towels flying around. There's a lot that goes on to that. I don't know. You tell me who you got. Though that one's not there. That's all the games right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it right there. Those are all the games that you have over there. Let's talk about real fast before we get out of here. Actually, not going to get out of here just yet. Some of the folks in the building, right? Whenever coaching changes happen, you obviously have to start to look at the roster and decide who's going to be here, who's not going to be here. I think that if Mike McDaniel makes it into Washington, you're looking at the roster and you got to really think, man, there's a lot to work with. Obviously, we start at the top at the quarterback position. It's JD5, baby. It's JD5. Super talented young man. We obviously want to get him healthy and be on the field, but I think that he could thrive in this offense. Number one, Tua threw for a hell of a lot of yards. All right. Tua threw for a hell of a lot of yards inside of this offense, and the offense still ran the rock a lot. All right. Tua's 2024 season, obviously this 2025 season, hot garbage. All right. But whenever that offense was rolling, whenever they were putting up a lot of points, it was just looking like a track meet out there. He ended up, my stuff is going real slow. Where is it at? 72%, almost 73% completion percentage. That was in 2024. In 2023, this is the season that we're looking for. 4,600 yards passing, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He had 69% completion percentage. He went 11-6 on that season. He was sacked 29 times, sacked 29 times. The most at this that he was sacked 30 times this season here, but it was 29 times, 21 times in 2026. All right, so there's yards to be had in that offense. There are definitely yards to be had in that offense. And I'm looking at what I have my eyes on now is the 2025 stats for the Miami Dolphins. I just want to see what they got going on. Oh, that's the wrong page. Looking at Tua stats. All right, so the rushing wise, they ran for about over 2,000 yards. They only threw for 3,100 yards. So those numbers are way down this season. But we go look at the running back position. I think about guys like Bill Krosky-Merritt. Devin Achane, 1,350 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. He also caught for 488 yards on 67 receptions. He had 4 touchdowns there as well. Would love to see what he has going on. Watching his tape and see how that can apply to some of the other players that you have over here in Washington. Ollie Gordon, I think that fills your Chris Rodriguez role, but he ran the ball. He had close to 200 yards rushing, three tutties. He was down there more towards the end zone. Receiver wise, we know what Mike McDaniel can do with Deebo Samuel. We know what he can do with them, but Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, these are the Malik Washington having a pretty solid year here. We're looking receiving yards. I'm going to sort that out. Jalen Waddle led the way down there, 910, 488 from Devin Achane. Obviously, Tyreek Hill got hurt after 4 games, only had 265 yards rushing. Another interesting position to pay attention to are tight ends. All right, I mentioned it earlier that Darren Waller pulled up. He only played in 9 games of that season, had 283 yards and 6 touchdowns. My man played in 9 games, started 3, scored 6 touchdowns. So Ben Sinnott, pay attention to those guys. There's a lot of people that I feel like Mike is going to walk in and say, oh, yeah, I can do something with that. I don't have to come in and make big changes. That's something that makes a lot of sense and would be appealing, to Adam Peters, and to a player. I know when Kyle Shanahan got the job and Mike Shanahan got the job to go to Washington, I went and started watching all of Houston's tape. I was watching everything that Andre Johnson was doing, trying to learn what their schemes were and just what the routes were and just what they like to do, and just so I could envision myself in that offense. So look, I know that when you're going on a job search and you're trying to find a new coordinator, we have to figure something out over here in Washington. We really do. And it's very rare that, your ideal candidate just pops up. Sometimes they do, but sometimes you got to go out there and do a little bit of work. But I know in this much, if you are sitting here in 2026, we're just past the quitting day. The 8th is the day that I'm recording this. But if you've had your 2026 goals and you're thinking about eating healthier, you need to go out and find yourself a dietitian or a nutritionist. If you're trying to maintain your mental health, and you can get some apps for that or get a therapist. If you're trying to work out, get yourself a trainer. If you're trying to find yourself a new coach, you go get yourself a new coach. But if you're trying to find people that are good at what they do, it can be difficult. It's like if you're hiring. Like, how can you find the best people for all the different roles on your team? It's easy. You use ZipRecruiter. Right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Listen here. ZipRecruiter, they have matching technology. It works fast to help you find the top talent so you don't waste time or money. You can find out the right way how many job seekers in your area are qualified for your role. With ZipRecruiter's advanced resume database, you can instantly unlock top candidates' contact info. It's no wonder why ZipRecruiter is the #1 hiring site based on G2. So listen here, let ZipRecruiter help you find the best people for all your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter are going to get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. You can just go to the website, the exclusive web address right now to try it for free, ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Seeing it on the screen if you're watching me. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. So yes, with all these different job offers and really good situations for Mike McDaniel, I know he's going to take some time to just decompress, but one thing to consider is that if you trust the people that you work with, you're going to feel comfortable being around them, and they're going to put you in a position to thrive. So we'll be following this closely. Make sure you stay tuned, stay tapped in with us on Believe in Commanders. Hey, Mike, if you want to come on the show, talk a little bit of ball after you make the decision, we'd love to have you, man. Talk to you soon. Y'all be safe.